The South Florida housing market is collapsing right now. Tens of thousands of people are losing hundreds of thousands of dollars in just a few months. Homes bought cannot be resold. Prices are plunging without breaks. Insurance, HOA, special assessments, everything is soaring at once. And worst of all, many people don't realize what's happening until it's too late. Florida used to be the dream. Today, it's becoming a financial nightmare spreading wide. In this video, you'll see 10 cities in South Florida falling the fastest, with the latest data, the sharpest analysis, and the truths no one wants to say out loud. If you are living, investing, or planning to move to Florida, you need to watch this entire video, because the decision in the next few minutes could save you tens of thousands of dollars or wipe you out completely. 10. Naples. The resort market collapse. If you ever dreamed of a peaceful retirement life by the Florida coast, then Naples once stood as the perfect symbol of that dream. But in 2025, the very place once praised as the retirement paradise is witnessing the worst financial nightmare in decades. And for many seniors, this is not just about losing money. It's about losing trust, losing stability, and losing the sense of safety in the very home they live in. Home prices in Naples have shockingly dropped by 27% in just 12 months. That means if you bought a home worth $800,000 last year, today its value may be under $600,000. This $200,000 loss is not just a number on paper. It's a family's lifetime savings, a retirement future erased in silence. And the tragedy doesn't stop there. Thousands of condos are stuck on the market. The average time to sell a home in Naples has surged to 160 days, more than 5 months. In a resort market, where liquidity used to be a major advantage, this is a clear sign of a freeze. Sellers are desperate, buyers are hesitant, and values just keep plunging without breaks. The cause isn't just the market, but also new policy. Law HB 913, effective July 1, 2025, requires condo buildings to be more transparent, undergo regular structural inspections, and especially build mandatory reserve funds. The result? Maintenance fees, HOA, insurance, and reserve funds have all soared. Many older residents, already living on fixed retirement income, are now facing bills of thousands of dollars a year they never anticipated. The outcome? A wave of fire sales is spreading through the Naples resort community. Residents who once thought they would live here for the rest of their lives are now quietly listing their homes, not because they want to leave, but because they can't afford the costs anymore. Naples, once the symbol of peace and class, has now become the most expensive wake-up call for anyone who ever thought the Florida dream was unshakable. What do you think about the situation in Naples? If it were you, would you sell to cut your losses or try to hold on? Share in the comments. And don't forget to like and subscribe for more in-depth analysis like this every week. 9. Cape Coral. The ground zero of South Florida's housing crisis. In July 2025, a neighborhood in West Cape Coral that was once bustling with construction is now eerily silent. More than 20 for-sale signs are planted one after another on the same street. No buyers, no traffic, only the sound of tall grass growing and families wondering in fear. Am I the next one forced to leave? Cape Coral is becoming the ground zero of the housing collapse in South Florida. In the past year, the median sale price in Cape Coral has dropped 6.8% as of August 2025. Meanwhile, the average time to sell a home has risen to 77 days, nearly double compared to early 2023. For a market once seen as a paradise for vacation investors, this is a clear signal of breakdown. Housing inventory has surged to alarming levels. 7.76 months for the overall housing market and more than 10. 1 month's just for condos, meaning thousands of homes can't be sold, sitting idle on the market amid the anxiety of both sellers and agents. The biggest problem making Cape Coral residents suffocate isn't just falling prices, it's that carrying costs are becoming unbearable. Home insurance, an unavoidable factor in a coastal area like Lee County, has turned into a massive burden. Even though citizens allowed some areas to see a 10% decrease, many neighborhoods experienced a 14% increase, especially those near the coast or within FEMA's new flood maps. With the average income of Cape Coral residents, annual insurance costs of $5,000 to $7,000 are simply unaffordable, especially for seniors living on fixed retirement income. Many people are forced to list their homes not because prices dropped, but because they can't afford the monthly costs anymore. Cape Coral, once expected to be the symbol of the affordable waterfront living dream, has now become the symbol of its collapse. Those stunning canals now reflect financial anxiety rather than the tranquility of the past. What do you think? If you are living in Cape Coral, would you stay or find another way out? Leave a comment below, and don't forget to follow the channel so you won't miss more sharp analysis of a market that's changing every single day. 8. Fort Lauderdale. Condos in Freefall, insurance wrecking budgets. The day you get a letter from your insurance company saying your premium just went up another $2,000 a year is the day you realize that dream condo in the heart of Fort Lauderdale has turned into a financial nightmare. Fort Lauderdale, a coastal tourism icon, once drawing thousands of families from the Northeast in search of sunshine and an easier lifestyle, is now facing an unprecedented crash. Downtown Fort Lauderdale prices have dropped 27.3% in just 1 year, as of August 2025. A steep slide that has left countless owners trapped or forced to sell at heavy losses. Days on market, DOM, have spiked from 85 to 127, collapsing liquidity. The days of bidding wars are gone. Now it's all about waiting, slashing prices, and living with prolonged uncertainty. The most severe blow has hit the sub-$500,000 condo segment, once popular with middle-class buyers, retirees, and small families. In Q1 2025 alone, condo prices in Broward fell another 6%, while Palm Beach dropped 7%. Older buildings, pre-2000, are being double taxed by two forces: the new condo law, HB 913, and skyrocketing insurance costs. A new threat also looms over the city. Nearly 9,400 properties were added to high-risk flood zones under FEMA's 2024-2025 map update. That means new flood insurance premiums showing up on monthly bills, plus faster depreciation as climate risks rise. The story is no longer about whether prices will fall. It's about whether residents here can still afford to hold on to their homes. With insurance climbing every year, HOAs tightening rules, and property values plunging, many are walking away from the coastal dream just to salvage their finances. Fort Lauderdale, once called the Venice of America, is becoming a condo battlefield, where owners fight daily against costs, floods, and a volatile market. Have you ever thought about retiring in Fort Lauderdale? What do you think now? Don't forget to leave a comment and hit follow to keep up with the next waves hitting South Florida's market. 7. Miami-Dade County, shiny condos, hidden trap. This past July, Mr. Larry, 62, a retired engineer from New Jersey, decided to sell his 2-bedroom condo in Brickell. The unit was once the couple's retirement dream. But after more than 4 months on the market, it only had 2 showings. After 3 price cuts, he still hasn't found a buyer. The reason? Insurance up 62%, and the HOA just announced an extra reserve fee of $9,000 a year. Mr. Larry's story isn't rare. Miami-Dade is becoming the epicenter of a cost of ownership bubble, where nominal prices may still rise. Plus 3.7% YoY. But real costs and liquidity are putting the market at risk. According to UBS's latest 2025 ranking, Miami now officially holds the global crown for real estate bubble risk, surpassing Toronto, Tokyo, and Dubai. A chilling truth for anyone holding assets here, hoping to store value long-term. The average days on market, DOM, has jumped to 89, a sharp increase from last year, showing a clear, expensive but slow trend. Buyers aren't rushing in anymore. They scrutinize, wait, and walk away from properties where hidden costs spiral out of control. Notably, condos in Miami-Dade haven't fallen as steeply as in Broward or Palm Beach, already 6 to 7%. But that's the dangerous signal. When prices don't fall, while HOA and insurance costs surge unchecked, the market can freeze because no one can actually afford to buy. Condo Law HB 913, effective July 1, 2025, requires buildings to disclose finances, boost reserves, and undergo regular inspections. Older buildings without sufficient funds, forced to levy special assessments. Some residents are blunt. We're selling not because prices are down, but because we can't afford to exist here. Miami-Dade is no longer a promised land for retirees or safe investors. It's becoming a region of condos that look stunning on the outside, but hide behind them shocking bills. Have you ever dreamed of owning a beachfront condo in Miami? Where is that dream drifting now? Leave a comment below, and don't forget to follow the channel to uncover the truths no one else is telling about Florida's market. 6. Hollywood. From beach paradise to flood zone. In June 2025, FEMA released its new flood risk maps, and instantly, more than half of the areas near Hollywood Beach were placed in high-risk zones. For thousands of households, this wasn't just a map. It was a new financial sentence dropped on their heads. Hollywood Beach, once a favorite destination for retirees and Airbnb investors, is now losing value disastrously. Median sale prices in the beachfront area have fallen by as much as 15% in just 1 year, as of August 2025. Not because of a lack of sunshine, but because the numbers on insurance contracts and HOA bills are becoming absurd. Flood risk is no longer a distant threat. The City of Hollywood officially joined the National Flood Insurance Program's Community Rating System, NFIP-CRS, confirming that the entire waterfront area now faces higher flood probabilities than ever. This has sent flood insurance costs skyrocketing, especially for beachfront properties that were once considered golden assets. Meanwhile, across Florida, new structural safety laws after the Surfside collapse have pushed maintenance fees, HOA dues, and special assessments sharply higher. Even though HB 913 introduced some adjustments to stretch payments, costs continue to climb, especially for older buildings without adequate reserve funds. What makes Hollywood different isn't just the loss of value, it's the feeling of losing control. Residents can't control rising seas, can't control soaring flood insurance premiums, and can't control sudden special assessments from condo boards. Hollywood, once a dream vacation retreat, is now forcing owners to run from the dream as costs spike quarter after quarter. And anyone who thought they got a great deal last year is now paying for it with their retirement savings. Are you living in a new FEMA zone? Has your home insurance spiked unexpectedly? Share your story in the comments, and keep following to discover other hotspots quietly collapsing across South Florida. 5 Pembroke Pines, 22,000 homes, suddenly at-risk assets. No floodwaters rushed in, no storm struck. But in early 2025, more than 22,000 homes in Pembroke Pines were suddenly recolored on the map. from safe zones to flood zones. With just one announcement from FEMA, thousands of families found themselves in a situation they had never imagined. Their homes were now dangerous assets. According to the newly updated flood maps from the Federal Emergency Management Agency, FEMA, large portions of Pembroke Pines were added to the expanded risk zones. The city issued a warning, admitting that there were many low-lying areas prone to flooding that had never been fully assessed before. But that warning came without financial solutions, and residents were left to shoulder the costs. On the surface, home prices here still ticked up slightly in 2025, lulling many into thinking everything was fine. But behind the numbers lurked an undercurrent called flood insurance costs. With Risk Rating 2.0, the new risk-based pricing system, premiums can rise up to 18% per year until they fully reflect the hazard. This turns homes once considered financially safe into ticking time bombs for family budgets. The problem is this: residents didn't choose to live in a flood zone. They were pushed into one. With no preparation, no contingency plans, many families, upon receiving their new insurance bills, were left with only two options: fire sale their homes or cut essential living expenses just to keep them. Pembroke Pines isn't collapsing because prices are falling, but because costs are rising quietly, with no ceiling. The risk is real but invisible, and anyone who doesn't understand how FEMA's new maps are reshaping the landscape could easily become the next victim. Are you sure your home is outside the risk zone? Check the new maps and share your thoughts below. We'll continue revealing other cities whose fates are being quietly rewritten with just a new line of ink on a map. 4. West Palm Beach. The story of Mrs. Linda, from stable retirement to forced fire sale. Mrs. Linda S., 68, moved to West Palm Beach in 2018, buying a fifth-floor condo in a lakeside building for $275,000. It was her peaceful dream for the rest of her life. But by the summer of 2025, she was forced to list it for only $199,000 after 3 price cuts and nearly 5 months without a single buyer. The reason? A notice from the condo board. HOA fees doubled, plus an additional $38,000 per unit owner to meet the reserve fund requirements under the new HB 913 law. Mrs. Linda had no choice. She could only sell, and she is not the only one. West Palm Beach is undergoing a silent mass exodus from older condo buildings. Under HB 913, effective 2025, all buildings 3 stories or higher and over 30 years old are required to undergo structural inspections, maintain large reserve funds, and ensure financial transparency. Although the law allows for loans or deferred contributions, the financial pressure remains significant. The result? Many homeowners cannot bear the costs. They are selling in a market that is rising in price but slowing in sales. Nominal prices up 11.3% YoY, but average days on market have climbed to 115, with older condos being abandoned the most. What makes West Palm Beach different is that the pain comes from regulation, not the market itself. The new law aims for safety, but it is forcing retirees and middle-income owners to sell their properties because they cannot keep up with the costs. The condos still stand. The lake is still beautiful. The sun still shines. But the people who once called them home are quietly leaving. Are you owning a condo in Florida? Check whether your building has a structural inspection and reserve fund plan in place before the deadline. December 31st, 2025. Mrs. Linda's story may be closer to you than you think. 3. Pompano Beach. Oceanfront condos are drowning in fees. Falling prices, rising fees, clogged transactions. That's the harsh reality in Pompano Beach. In just 12 months, home prices across the city dropped 6.3%, with the beachfront area plunging 10.2%. And this isn't even the worst part. The real choke point is maintenance costs and financial obligations rising to suffocating levels. After the shocking condo collapses in Florida, the new law requires condo buildings to maintain mandatory reserve funds, undergo regular structural inspections, and maintain full financial transparency. But the safety policy has thrown many residents into a financial crisis. According to Pompano Beach Realty.com, many buildings are doubling HOA fees or demanding special assessments of tens of thousands of dollars per unit, just to comply with the law. For buyers of condos under $500,000, mostly retirees, immigrants, or young families, this financial pressure is unbearable, and that is freezing the condo market here. Many owners are forced to sell off, but few dare to buy when ownership costs cannot be predicted. The instability of finances and insurance is stalling transactions, while buildings continue to deteriorate. Pompano Beach isn't collapsing because of one reason, but from the combination of all: falling prices, rising fees, expensive insurance, weak liquidity, and shaken confidence. Like the video if you find this information useful. Subscribe now so you don't miss the latest updates on Florida real estate with direct, honest, and in-depth insights. 2. Port St. Lucie. Costs climbing, trust collapsing. You think you're safe by staying away from the big cities? Think again. Port St. Lucie, once seen as the ideal retreat for families and retirees, is now a cost trap with no escape. Just in the past year, the median home price here has fallen 4.5%, according to Zillow. The average time on market has climbed to 53 days, a clear sign of sinking liquidity. But these numbers don't tell the full story of the real pain. Insurance is tearing through the budgets of thousands of households here. In 2025, Citizens raised premiums by 17.2% for wind-only policies and 10.4% for full homeowners insurance. Even the 55-plus communities, once full of seniors and retirees, are no longer immune to these cost shocks. Worse, while many people are struggling to hold on to their homes, 43% of condos in Florida were forced to cut prices in June 2025, according to Equity Trust. That's the highest discount rate since the 2008 crisis. Port St. Lucie isn't loud like Miami, or collapsing dramatically like Naples. But the quiet, drawn-out nature of its crisis is far more frightening. Costs silently eating away at savings, home prices slipping gently but steadily, and liquidity vanishing day by day. If you think you're safe in Port St. Lucie, maybe it's time to look at this month's insurance bill and ask yourself, how much longer can you hold on? 1. Miramar. Another 25,000 homes pushed into the danger zone. They don't need to tear down your house, just change a map. And suddenly, the whole city shakes. In just 1 year, more than 25,000 properties in Miramar were added to the official flood zone, according to FEMA's 2025 updated maps. With just one stroke on paper, the dream of home ownership in South Florida has turned into a financial nightmare. The fallout is spreading through every neighborhood, every household. Flood insurance costs in Miramar are now climbing the mountain at a maximum pace of 18% per year under the new Risk Rating 2.0 system. And the worst part? These increases will continue annually until they fully reflect the risk, meaning there's no clear end in sight. Meanwhile, home prices in the town center area, once a showcase of urban pride, have already begun to drop. 1.4% YOY as of August 2025, according to Redfin. That number may not sound shocking, but the combination of falling prices and rising costs is the double punch that really hurts. Miramar isn't collapsing in a single day. But every policy, every small change, from flood maps to insurance rating models, is tightening the noose on tens of thousands of families, forcing them to endure in silence and sell off in desperation. Don't think you're safe if your home sits near a canal, a small lake, or even just low-lying land. Because in FEMA's eyes, a single drop of water is enough to wipe out your home's value. When the flood maps are redrawn, when insurance rises steadily month after month, when it takes you 160 days just to sell a single home, then you know. The crisis is no longer somewhere far away. It is right at your doorstep. From Naples to Cape Coral, from Miami to Miramar, every city on today's list is proof of a collapse that is silent but brutal. Home prices are no longer the only problem. It is the insurance costs, maintenance fees, reserve requirements, and the liquidity nightmare forcing thousands to sell off or give up. If you are living in South Florida, this is not just information. This is a warning. And if you are an investor, a first-time homebuyer, or simply a resident trying to hold on, then it's time you made decisions with clear eyes. Don't be caught off guard. Don't let the American dream turn into a burden. If you found this content valuable, hit like, subscribe, and turn on notifications so you don't miss the latest updates on Florida's housing market. Because in a time when everything changes at lightning speed, one timely piece of information could save you from losing hundreds of thousands of dollars.